In at number 10, her origin. Chica's origin is much more explored in the second game, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. She appears as her earliest form, her first generation of an animatronic, which is known as Withered Chica. This Chica has fallen into severe disrepair, and replaced by a new iteration of Chica called Toy Chica. Now, Withered Chica would eventually be rebuilt after the events of the second game, which is the version of her that we're introduced to in the first Five Nights game. The more you know. And at number 9, all in the details. Let's take a look at a few aspects of Chica's character that made her so darn scary and so darn iconic. In the very first Five Nights at Freddy's, as the night progresses, she becomes more erratic, twitching violently, eyes blinking rapidly, and her soundbite will play regardless of whether or not you're focused on her or not. She gets quite sneaky too. If you fail to check your right blind spot and close the door when she's at the window, she can sneak into the office without being seen. And when she does, the buttons for the door and light won't function anymore. You can tell she's entered the office by listening for the sound of groans, which both her and Bonnie do. They'll jump at you as soon as you lower your monitor. And at number 8, Chica loves food. Like, no shit, right? I mean, it literally says "let's eat" on her bib, which is surrounded by little triangles that one could only assume are inspired by the fact that she was built for a franchise of pizza parlors. Anyway, based on the Freddy Fazbear theme song, Chica is a gluttonous but lovable chicken who has an adoration of food, especially pizza. Shocker there, friends. She's also a little pushy. Gotta get that za.
Number 7, Michael Afton. Michael Afton is William's son and Elizabeth's brother, who is also known by his nickname Eggs Benedict. In Sister Location, you play as Michael, who is revealed to be on a mission to find his sister and set her spirit free. However, Michael is tricked into entering the scooping room by Enard, who also has Elizabeth's consciousness within it. In the scooping room, you as Michael have your insides scooped out before Enard wears your skin like a suit, so that they may leave the facility and go out into the world. How lovely. It is speculated that Michael may also be the Purple Man instead of William, or maybe in addition to William? Could there be two of them? You decide.
Moving on to number 6, them teeth. Chica's got some chompers. She's got a second set of teeth in the back of her mouth, with most people assuming that those teeth are part of her endoskeleton. There is a theory though that those teeth actually belong to a human, with one popular theory debating that the teeth belong to Phone Guy. A lot of Phone Guy theories. That being said, every single one of the animatronics in the first game have endoskeleton teeth inside of their costumes, so.
Number 5, first animatronic. Bonnie is said to be the first animatronic that was designed by Scott Cawthon. Apparently, in an interview, Scott shared that during the early stages of game development, Bonnie's face actually popped up and caught him off guard, as it appeared in a spot where it wasn't supposed to be. Being unexpected, Bonnie's face gave Scott a big jump scare of his own, and that was the moment that Scott knew with FNAF he had something really interesting. That moment itself likely inspired a lot of the pop-ups that you experienced during the gameplay.
Moving on to number 4, missing? Despite the absence of the last game, Chica may initially have been planned to be in it. In Ennard's first teaser found within the source code, Chica's name is mentioned as a client called Chica's Party World, no vowels, which was an abbreviation for Chica's Party World. But there is no reference to this party world in the game itself. Curious, what do you guys think it could have been?
Number 3, not featured. In the trailer for the first Five Nights at Freddy's, Foxy is actually one of the only original animatronics who does not appear. In fact, it is Bonnie instead that you see running down the hallway in the place of Foxy, who is the one. Some think this is because Scott Cawthon either hadn't designed Foxy yet and would later change the mechanics for Bonnie, having Foxy actually take over the animatronic that sprints, or instead that Scott simply wanted Foxy to be a surprise for us all. What do you think? Do you think he changed his mind, or do you think he just wanted it to be a surprise?
Number 2, Chica's cupcake. Let's talk about this little buck-toothed pink frosted buddy of hers, the cupcake. There is a cupcake that Chica holds on a tray when she is on stage. Like the other animatronics, it has black eyelids. Now this cupcake disappears when Chica is off the stage, and there's never been any explanation for why. Creepily enough though, the same cupcake also can be spotted inside of the office in the first game on top of the monitors, which is, you know, probably just merch, but whatever. Other than that, it has no effect on the player aside from spooking them out. And last but not least, in at number 1, Help Wanted. There's some fun details about Chica in the Five Nights at Freddy's VR game Help Wanted. The parts and service section is perhaps one of the more interesting parts of the game, no pun intended there. Your objective is to repair one of the original animatronics, in which you're guided through various instructions to do so. Now, in order to repair Chica, you need to remove pizza slices from her body, open up her beak which reveals a cockroach infestation, and continue to spray her with chemispray in order to clean her up. Now, if you mess with the instructions, she'll jump scare you and presumably kill you. And also, according to the parts and service portion of the game, there have been customer complaints about Chica's acrid smell, meaning she's been rummaging through the kitchen again and probably some garbage for some munchies. Tough life.
Number 10, William Afton. So, who is the purple guy, you may ask? There are a few theories surrounding this, but one is that he is the man known as William Afton. William Afton is the creator and operator of Afton Robotics Incorporated, which is pretty terrifying considering that is the company that supplied Fazbear Entertainment with their animatronics. Spooky? You bet. You get to visit Afton Robotics in the FNAF game's sister location. Number 9, Elizabeth. Elizabeth Afton is the young daughter of William Afton and the sister to Michael Afton. William created Circus Baby for her, and she is a minor character in the sister location game. She wanted to play with Circus Baby, but her father told her to stay away from the animatronic due to it not being deemed safe enough yet for his daughter. However, when her dad wasn't looking during a birthday party, she snuck off to play with Circus Baby and was lured away from the other children with ice cream that Circus Baby gave her. Circus Baby killed little Elizabeth with a claw that burst forth from her chest. Unfortunately, no one could hear Elizabeth's screams for help over the loud cheering and squeals of delight coming from the other children who were excited over the other animatronics. Ooh. Number 8, hostile animatronics. Not only did Purple Man potentially make the animatronics, if he truly is William Afton, but he was also responsible for messing with the animatronics' facial recognition software at Freddy's. In FNAF 2, it is revealed that this was tampered with after William complained about the working conditions of the night shifts, and was moved to the daytime shift as a result. During this time, children went missing, and the animatronics programming was altered to make them act hostile towards employees of Freddy's. I think you see what could have happened next there.
And at number 7, that groan. You know the groans that we mentioned earlier, the sounds that Chica and Bonnie make when they've snuck into the office? Well, there's a theory about why those groans sound the way they do, or rather why the animatronics make them. It's speculated that the groan is actually phone guys, or that it belongs to one of the 5 kids from the missing children incident theory. On the flip side of this, which is probably the more rational theory, the groan could simply come from her voice box. Voice boxes are found in most singing animatronics, and it could be that this voice box is malfunctioning since the animatronics are over 20 years old and poorly maintained.
Number 6, serial killer. The purple guy has been confirmed as the murderer of at least 5 missing children throughout the games. In the first FNAF game, you discover that he was responsible for luring at least 2 children to the back room who mysteriously then vanished. Later on in the franchise, you discover via mini-games that he also murdered a child outside of the pizzeria, and that a total of 5 children taken to the back room were killed and stuffed into animatronic suits. Number 5, singing. While the animatronics are all musical to a degree, as, you know, they all perform in a band together, Foxy is one of the few that you can hear continuing to sing after hours. That dum-da-dum-dum that you hear, or pum-pa-pum-pum, depending on what you hear, while checking your cameras is Foxy's voice, by the way. And he's either singing to pass the time or singing to creep you out. Either way, in case you were wondering who is singing, it is Foxy. Some of the other animatronics moan, so by comparison, Foxy seems to be in a more pleasant mood, or just have a healthier voice box maybe, when compared to the other animatronics. What's there not to be in a good mood about? It's nighttime, you're walking around, maybe you're gonna kill some people, it's great. Number 4, Scrap Trap. Scrap Trap is a far more frightening iteration of Springtrap. This version appears in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. The suit now appears to have even more tears and has a more withered looking appearance, missing a limb and with more tendons belonging to the corpse within it visible. Number 3, Bonnie Plushie. I don't know if it's so much shocking as it is interesting. In FNAF 2, the Bonnie Plushie is an item you can get as a reward when you complete the Custom Nights Double Trouble mode. This plushie actually became so popular that it was also turned into a toy. In fact, there is a whole line of FNAF toys. Some of them adorable and some of them are more sinister looking. Some people even handcraft and sell withered Bonnie plushies as well. Ugh. So, if you're a fan of Bonnie, there's a good chance you can find plushies for him in all of his forms. Gotta catch 'em all. Number 2, Trapped in Hell. It's believed that in Custom Night, where you can customize which animatronics can come at you as you attempt to survive, you are playing as William Afton, who is now trapped in hell, with the never-ending nights that make up the individual games that you play representing William's eternal punishment for the murders that he was responsible for. Additionally, the Old Man Consequences Easter egg has been used to argue the likelihood of this claim. What do you think? Do you think that game is all about you playing as William Afton, you're trapped in hell? Let us know in the comments. Number 1, Father versus Son. After Michael Afton turns purple in the minigames we previously touched on, he starts to convulse and ends up vomiting out the parts of Enid. His empty skin collapses on the ground with nothing to hold it up, and he appears to be dead. However, we then see him miraculously awaken, alive. And if you beat Golden Freddy on very hard mode in Custom Night, you get to find out what happens next in his story. That is, after he left, now with Enid inside him. A cutscene reveals Michael talking to his father in a burned down Fazbear's Fright. Michael explains that he has freed his sister, but at great cost to himself. He should be dead, but finds himself somehow still alive. And he vows that he is coming to find his father. The cutscene finishes with Springtrap popping into the frame. Number 10, Frequent Visitor. In the original FNAF, if you were ever successfully attacked and killed by an animatronic, it was likely Bonnie. I mean, probably wasn't Bonnie all the time, but trust me, Bonnie's a big one. Bonnie the Bunny is one of the most active characters in the original game. He really likes to come out and play and roam the pizzeria at night. So he is really the one that you need to keep an eye out for when it comes to those lights in the doors and your cameras, as you likely will see a lot of movement from Bonnie. In fact, you'll probably just see Bonnie like waiting to jump on you later in that game, pretty much the entire time. Bonnie pops up at your left door, so that's the one you want to keep an eye on for Bonnie the Bunny. Number 9, Death Coin. In Ultimate Custom Night, the Death Coin becomes a mechanic that you can use if you purchase it using Faz Coins. Bonnie the Bunny is one of the animatronics you can actually use it on, so if you're really afraid of Bonnie, or if they are your least favorite animatronic, though I don't know why you put them in your custom game, or if you just don't want to have to worry about Bonnie, this might be a good idea for you. The Death Coin can only be purchased and used once per night and allows you to basically ignore or delete a character for that night. It can't be used on all of the animatronics, but it can be used on Bonnie, if you so choose. Number 8, Bonnie and Foxy. In the trailer for the original game, Bonnie appears to be the animatronic who charges down the hallway at you, and is also shown removing his face. While in the game, it is Foxy who is known for running and using this method to charge you and attack. Right off the bat, this connection between the two would later lead to some seeming competition in the animatronics' relationship with one another, which is hinted at later in the franchise, and which we'll talk about further on in this list. Some have speculated that Bonnie running in the trailer while Foxy was the one running in the game has to do with either the fact that Scott had not yet designed Foxy, changed his mind about Bonnie's character in the game and his approach, or simply wanted Foxy to be a surprise. As for Bonnie removing his face, we wouldn't see anything like this with Bonnie until the second game. Number 7, Power Drainage. Something astute players may have noticed, while more casual players may have missed, is the amount at which Foxy actually drains your power. In the first game, if Foxy leaves Pirate Cove and dashes at your door, you have to be quick to respond and close it to prevent him from entering the office and attacking you. If you successfully block his entrance, he'll bang on the door a few times before resetting back at Pirate's Cove. But when you block him, although he obviously doesn't kill you, he still manages to cause you some grief, as his attempt to attack you actually drains your power. The first time he gets to you in a shift, it'll only be 1% that he'll take away from you. But if he gets out again, he'll take another 6% of your power. And if you aren't watchful enough and he escapes Pirate Cove a third time, he'll drain 11% of your battery when you block him that third time. If you manage to block him, and he doesn't kill you. Number 6. Freaky Eyes. When it comes to Bonnie, a lot of people have noticed that in his withered form, the light of his pupils actually change. It could have to do with a change in the amount of light that shines on withered Bonnie, or it could have to do with a change in his mood. But his eyes switch between being bright white or bright red. Either way, withered Bonnie is terrifying and is likely still going to try and come for you. no matter what the color of his eyes.
And at number 5, absence. Chica is in every Five Nights at Freddy's game with the exception of the 5th game, 2016's Sister Location. Now despite the 5th title, Sister Location is chronologically the first installment in the series and actually is rather distinct compared to the other Freddy's titles. You can move between rooms and must carry out objectives, and a new cast of animatronics were added. Now the reception for the title was a little mixed, although the game was praised for switching up the series status quo in terms of gameplay, keeping the player on edge. There is a slight nod to Chica in the game though. There's a mode in Custom Night called Cupcake Challenge, which is a nod to Chica's cupcake.
Number 4, aggressive. In Ultimate Custom Night, Bonnie is also in Pirate Cove and is not happy about having to share the stage with Foxy the Pirate. Another nod to those two having a potential close and competitive relationship. As a result of being forced to share Pirate Cove, Bonnie becomes a lot more aggressive in the game. And whereas you may be used to having to frequently check on Foxy, if Bonnie is actually the one in Pirate Cove, you don't want to catch him on camera. Whereas Foxy wants your attention, if you catch Bonnie on camera, it will make Bonnie come towards you. So the opposite of what you're used to dealing with when it comes to Foxy in Pirate Cove. Number 3, rotting away. Part of the reason why some think that Michael Afton could be the Purple Man is because of the color of his skin. The purple color is speculated to represent his skin rotting away following the scooping room incident in Sister Location, while Michael's consciousness lives on within. In many games within Ultimate Custom Night, we witness what happened to Enard and Michael after leaving the facility. We see his skin change from pale to tan to green to brown to almost like this blue and then deep purple. Number 2, Mr. Munch. Many have drawn similarities between another lovable real-life pizzeria character, real life, and Bonnie the Bunny. That character is Mr. Munch. Mr. Munch and Bonnie both have a similar shaped body and face. While Mr. Munch is not a bunny, he is purple and has similar eyes to Bonnie, except that Bonnie's eyes are red or pink. In FNAF 2, people also noticed that Bonnie's teeth appeared to be more pointed, similar to the shape of those of Mr. Munch. Many have likened Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria to that of Chuck E. Cheese's, which also is known for its animatronic characters, as well as comparing Freddy Fazbear to the lead animatronic in the band Rockafire Explosion, who is also an anthropomorphic animatronic bear, like Freddy. Number 1, Nightmare. Scott Cawthon considers Bonnie to be the most frightening animatronic in the game. Bonnie actually gave Scott nightmares, likely because Bonnie was also responsible for the jump scares Scott experienced during development, which we talked about earlier. People also believe this is why Bonnie appears in hallucinations in the game, that the hallucinations are sort of a nod to Scott's own nightmares that he had of Bonnie. Regardless, when it comes to Scott's opinion, Bonnie remains the most terrifying animatronic in the games for him. So if we're talking to Scott, he's gonna tell us that Bonnie the Bunny is actually the most terrifying animatronic. Number 10, tallest. Many believe that Foxy is actually the tallest animatronic in the game. Although it has not been officially confirmed, most people have estimated that he is at least 7 feet tall, being between 7 feet tall and 7 feet and 7 inches tall. Most have come to this conclusion based on constructing estimated heights for the animatronics in the game, using the door frame we see them pop up in, and other location furniture and visuals as height reference. Number 9, Christopher McCullough. Christopher McCullough provided the voice for Foxy the Pirate in the FNAF games, but did you know that he voiced another character in the games as well? In Sister Location, we get to see a little bit of a show called The Immortal and the Restless, a soap opera TV series. Many episodes play following the completion of each shift in the game. The show centers around Vlad, a vampire, and his romantic relationship with a woman named Clara. McCullough also provided the voice for Vlad's character. His credits also include voice work for another popular game, the Marvel Avengers Academy mobile game, where you can hear him lend his voice to that of Avenger Hank Pym. He does it all. He's a vampire, he's a pirate, he's an Ant-Man. Number 8, his sidekick. Some believe the Balloon Boy is actually in cahoots with Foxy, and that the two characters are partners. This is because in FNAF 2, and similarly in the VR FNAF game Help Wanted, Balloon Boy is the one who periodically messes with your lights in the game, periodically making you extremely vulnerable to Foxy's attacks, as though Balloon Boy is working with Foxy and helping him to successfully get to and kill the player, you. Number 7, moaning. On night 4 of the original Five Nights at Freddy's, you might notice that when Bonnie pops up, he begins to moan. You can hear a series of moans when you see Bonnie on camera, just adding to the creepiness of his character. It almost makes it sound like someone is trapped in the suit. It could be a reference to the spirits who are actually trapped within the animatronics, or it could just be the suit glitching when it comes to the in-story reason for why we hear this moaning. In regards to gameplay though, it just seems to be part of making the game feel more scary the further along you get, getting you more and more on edge. Just like the camera glitches, which you experience more and more as the game goes on. Ugh, those camera glitches, they get me. I'm like, meh, meh. Ugh. No thank you. Stop glitching, camera. Why you like that? Also, why do I have limited power? What is this?
Number 6, FNAF 3 Mystery. Before the trailer for FNAF 3 was released, Scott put out some teaser content for fans to enjoy, getting everybody hyped. One teaser featured a character with a golden face who had rows of sharp teeth that appeared to be covered in blood. Due to the sharp teeth, fans suspected this actually might be Foxy, but later when Springtrap was revealed in the trailer, it was actually suspected that Springtrap might have been the one featured in that teaser. However, as we got to see more of Springtrap, we noticed that his teeth were actually not pointed like Foxy. Foxy himself remains one of the only animatronic characters who has sharp teeth in the game. And so, people were left to wonder if this was just a mistake on Scott's part and he changed the design of Springtrap prior to the game being released, or was Foxy simply supposed to have a bigger role that ended up being rewritten or cut?
Number 5, Springtrap. In FNAF 3, we discovered that Springtrap, the game's main antagonist, contains the corpse of William Afton. While fleeing the vengeful spirits of the 5 children that he murdered, he finds himself cornered. Quickly, he thinks to hide himself in a Spring Bonnie suit, being careful to avoid injury. Initially. However, the suit's spring locks malfunction due to water damage and sudden movements that William makes, resulting in him being sliced apart while inside the suit and crushed by its inner mechanisms. What a way to go. You can still see his remains through the tears in Springtrap's suit.
Number 4, The Bite of 87. Now, for a long time, people suspected that Foxy the Pirate was the animatronic responsible for the mysterious Bite of 87, first mentioned by Phone Guy in the first FNAF game. This came from the theory that Foxy is of course damaged in that game and is also declared out of order. Not only does he have the perfect sharp teeth to be used in a deadly bite, but his jaw also appears to be injured. He is also separated from the other animatronics and forced to stay behind the curtain at Pirate Cove, as though he were being punished. However, in FNAF 4, it was finally revealed that the animatronic involved in the Bite of 87 was Freddy, who crushed a child's skull during a prank that the young boy's older brother and his friends were playing on the smaller child at his birthday. And that small child is actually believed to be Michael Afton's brother.
Moving on to number 3, Phantom Chica. Even though Chica appears in all of the rest of the games, it is worth noting that it is different forms of her that appear and pop up in those sequel titles. Now, for example, in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, she doesn't affect gameplay at all beyond being a spooky piece of the game's set. Now, she is an attraction prop at Fazbear's Fright, and in Cam 08 you can see her disembodied head. Instead, in the game, it's Phantom Chica who is basically Chica but doesn't have eyes and scares you and looks charred and her mouth is constantly open. She doesn't have much of a movement pattern either. There's also a little nod from her partner in crime in the third game who actually appears as a minor hallucination, which brings us to our next number, talking about that partner in crime.
Number 2, Active on Night 1. Some players theorize that Foxy himself was not even active during the first night of the original game because it is very rare for him to come out and attack on that first night. However, others have played to actually test that theory and found that he can attack on night 1, but agree that the chances of this happening to you are very rare. It actually takes a whole minute of gameplay where you don't check your cameras for this to occur to you. But if you ignore him for long enough, then Foxy will still come charging at you, even on night 1. Don't think that you won't see him on night 1 because you might. Number 1, the good guy theory. Foxy is such a fan favorite when it comes to all of the animatronics that you run into in Five Nights that a theory started to circulate around how he might not even be as despicable or evil as we all think he is. Some people theorize that Foxy the Pirate, in the first game at least, was actually a good guy. Why do some people think this? A lot of it has to do with the way his jump scare works. Combine that with people's love of Foxy and it's easy to see why people have wanted him to be a confirmed good animatronic. Something that Foxy's scream is actually Foxy trying to scare off any other animatronics who are waiting to harm the player in the office, but that the player ultimately still dies because his scream is so loud and startling that your character will have a heart attack. And it's actually the heart attack people theorize that kills you.